Welcome everybody to a block showcase for the Youkai Corporation. I've got a stand where all of, or at least almost all of the blocks are located, and I built this little tank thing. Starting up here, we've got wheels which seem to have taken inspiration from GSO and Hawkeye. And I mean, I'm not saying that's bad, it's just, well, some of these look similar to others already in the game, which means that it's actually really easy to combine the two. Of course, color scheme isn't exactly the same, but you could probably find some black and gold paint for Hawkeye. Down here, the pipes, which some of these seem to be quite a lot like the GeoCorp bumpers. Just 5-way, 6-way, 5-way, 3-way, 4-way, 2-way, 3-way, longer 2-way, and then a bent and a bent split. Oh, and another 4-way, but then on 90 degrees, and another small bend. It has got some slope blocks, inner slope, 2-meter slope, 2-meter slope pointed, just the corner block. And most importantly, and this is an insanely great block, I wish every corporation had them, but they don't, it's actually the tip block. Right here. This is very effective if you want to make something pointy in one block. For instance, something that's an uneven amount of blocks wide, you would be able to get to a point using the tip block. None of the other corporations have this block, and this will just make it very easy to make ships, for instance, which you want pointy on the front. And that's something I forgot to mention, but yeah, that's right, this corporation is mainly focused on ships and tanks, I believe, something like that. Then here, just standard block 1, 2, 3, 8, and 8 but then cube. A 2x2 block, a chassis block, 3 different kinds of armor, the single block, the double block, and the 2x2 block. Then right here, we've got the cab, which to me looks a little bit like an angry samurai, and right next to it we've got the AI cab. Then next is radar, gimbal, radar, gyroscope, block collector, which is kind of like the magnet, but then the scrapper, as in it takes the blocks in, rather than just hooks them on, and of course fuel and energy gauge combined. Next up, energy blocks. We've got battery, 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 so big, medium, small. Next to that we've got here, which is the, oh yeah, what was it? I believe this was the shield. What am I activating? I'm activating the small and the medium, or rather the big shield. Come on, activate. There we go. I believe both of these have repair capabilities as well as shields. Then here, solar panel, the dynamo. It's a big dynamo, and I think it's a stationary dynamo, which is kind of strange, because this is, as it says, a nuclear kinetic dynamo. So this one is just infinite power kind of thing, even when standing still. Next up, on the front, here we've got, well, actually last but not least for the energy blocks, the Youkai Antitheus bubble projector. This is actually a weapon. It's a bubble weapon kind of thing, plasma generator. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be. Well, yeah, they don't even know what it is. It just destroys things. Alright, so let me just turn those back off. There we go. Because otherwise they're a bit annoying. Next up, I don't really know how I did it last time, because you can't have those trying to connect when this anchor is trying to deploy, because that is exactly what it is. It's an anchor with a nice chain. That's again, this corporation was focused on ships. Here we've also got the rotating and the normal anchor, which, well, they're kinda basic, of course. Adjustment thruster, a small booster, Small hover, big hover, fuel tank, and that's about it. No one is interested in those blocks unless you need them. Up here though, this is a lot more interesting. Small knife, medium knife, large knife, world-destroying knife. This thing is absolutely insane. It slices through pretty much every tech in one go. If you've got it on a swivel, this thing cuts through pretty much everything like butter. Initially I had it on this tech as well as just a banner, but it was a bit too heavy for that. Anyways, moving on. Small weapon, machine gun-like, submachine gun, fast-firing mortar, a rifle. Then next up, here we've got the heavy battle rifle and the 4-pound cannon. 4-pound cannon is just a little bit stronger than the GSO 3-pound cannon. Then next up I believe is the shotgun, heavy shotgun indeed. Doesn't have the best firing rate, but it does deal some decent damage. Next up, a really interesting gun is a laser autocannon. And even though it's a laser, it seems like it has a magazine attached. Anyways, that's the gun that shoots in a straight line, as the only one from this corporation, I believe. Yes. Next up, the longest range weapon, which is just a bullet, this battleship cannon. Again, looking quite a bit like Hawkeye. So if you want a 2-wide Hawkeye battleship cannon, there it is. It's just a bit of a smaller variant. Also, a FHEL type laser, and that one it burns. And range on it is actually really quite good. I believe that's far better than the Better Future lasers. Or at least continuous lasers. Longer range than the Better Future ones. Longer range and are also more damaging. So those were all of the weapons on the top row, and then here we have the last one, which is the naval gun. Again, they're focused on ships, naval combat. That's where you've got knives, tiny knives, and the naval gun also does real nice damage. Then next up is this small tack. It was just trying to try out every single weapon, didn't end up working out that way. But let me just tell you what we've got on here. We've got small, medium, large knife, which is just fun. It's a nice pointy thing. We've got 2 motors, we've got 2 solar generators, we've got quite a couple of batteries, we've got a radar, an anchor on the backside. We've got 4-pound cannons on either side, rifles, and submachine guns in front. Actually just really basic. Oh, and I forgot about the laser. And of course 2 battleship cannons underneath. It's really quite a basic tech. It's just wheels on a base with weapons on top, and then strapping a couple of boosters on there with a couple of batteries and stuff. It really isn't a lot. But it doesn't have to be a lot. It really doesn't. Let's just try and fight an enemy. That's a big enemy, right? Yeah, it's dead. Of course, most of these enemies are really easily defeated. Most of them have explosive things on the back. But now, fighting Afterburner, something that has actually got quite a couple of good weapons. And it is dead. Those missiles it fired, it had cruise missiles and smaller missiles, didn't even get through the shield. We've only lost 2 blocks of our energy. Also, these swords deal quite good damage. So even just running behind someone and then just sticking a knife in their back works really well. And something that helps with that is that it of course has boosters. Fighting anti-grav, maybe not the easiest thing because the anti-grav is already going up to space. Handling on this tank is actually quite good. I've tried it out in pretty much every biome. Even on rocky terrain, like those really steep hills, it works really well. Attack goes about 107 miles an hour. How does it deal with falling off a cliff? Well, you just let go of control and it just drives off, no problem. Is it able to drive up the wall over here? Yes, it is. You have to go on there from the side a little bit, but yes, it can actually drive up there without taking damage. Of course, one thing you have to consider is that, well, they're still modded wheels, so they like to sink through the ground, like this. Come on, yeah, there we go. Shows it off quite nicely. And of course then it damages the wheels. But again, these are wheels which you could easily replace with the Big Daddy wheels from Youkai, and it pretty much looks the same. Rocks, also not a big deal. It does say that the small swords are better for carving through rocks and stuff like that than the bigger ones, but I've not really had any major problems with that. This corporation is also really good in combination with the water mod for TerraTech, which you can download through the mod manager. However, in my case it doesn't really want to work. I can't adjust the level of the water, so that's a bit annoying. Other than that, this is a corporation that would work really well in combination with both Youkai and GSO, because of course it has blocks that are a bit like them, and because of course painting is not limited to just one color, you can of course take for instance this black and grey for GSO, or even just black and white, whatever you want, and it would work really well. Something I can't actually show you, but I'm pretty sure that this corporation would work very well with the newest skin DLC for TerraTech, because I believe there is one corporation that got a bit of a samurai look to it. I believe, at least that's what it looked like to me when I saw the pictures. So, if you get that DLC and you just throw a couple of swords on there, it would probably look really nice. Anyway, so that's the Youkai corporation in TerraTech. It has some really good looking blocks, it has some really strong blocks, and it would work very well with some other corporations like GSO and Youkai. And if you want to make a mech which uses one of those massive swords, go ahead, you can do that. It may not be the biggest. I'm pretty sure corporations like Tech or Lemon Kingdom have more blocks in their block pack, but it's definitely just really fun and good looking. I actually really like the look of this tech, even though it's just a couple of guns on a chassis, nothing more. And yet, this corporation is able to make it look good. So, well done that you made it this far into the video. Consider watching the video in your lower left. But that's all I'm going to have for you today, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.